Recorded live in Balcatta, Western Australia, the Hoon capital of the world, this is Talkin' Power.
Gap is what happens when you hold to the floor and crush the man next to you. There's space in between your back lumbar and your front bumper. We, in the South, we refer to it as the gap band.
Well, I think, Formula One is for grown-ups.
So, what about the sideways? You've got a race in your own lane. Now he's on the grass, he brings it back. That's a great driving there.
Torque and Power, your motoring and motorsport podcast.
All right, everyone. Episode 36 of the Talk and Power podcast, and as you probably can tell, we are live. This is a live podcast that we're doing from Benzenes Detailing here in Wangara. This is a Cancer Council fundraiser. It's the Benzenes Open Day, and I'm here with Johnny Ielati. How are you, Johnny?
Yeah, I'm good, Nick. Thank you.
That's good. Thanks for the invite down here. It's great to be here. Can you just give us a rundown on the what's today, what it's all about?
It's probably about a couple of things, to be honest with you. It was we've obviously revamped the workshop in the last 6 months, and I thought it was a good opportunity to have an open day, but also try and raise some funds for the Cancer Council, which is something we try to do on a yearly basis. And I thought we'd just utilise the workshop and the space we've got in the complex to have a bit of a show and shine. So yeah.
Look, as you can probably hear, some of the cars are rolling up as we speak. So, Johnny, you've been here, a couple of years now?
It's actually been over 4 years now. So
4 years,
yeah,
there you go.
Yeah,
right.
in the workshop, yeah.
You just did a pretty major renovation here at the moment, so you've got a mezzanine floor in now and you've polished up the floors. Any other renovations you've done in here that I may have missed?
No, obviously, I mean, that's the main thing was to, the mezzanine to give us the floor space back, but obviously the lighting is probably another step above of what we had before.
Sure.
So which is what we that was part of what we wanted to try to achieve with the mezzanine floor as well. So
No, it's come up $1 million.
Just to have everything really tidy and locked away. Everything's nice and neat. It's got a place now. So yeah.
No, it's good. So if our listeners are out there, if they need to find you, Benzenes Detailing, I know you do all the top-end work. We've got some great cars out there at the moment, some of my favourites in Perth at the moment. So where can they find you, Johnny?
We're obviously in Wangara, but if you just jump on our Facebook page, our Instagram page, Benzenes Detailing, all our details are there, and you can see what we do, and
no worries.
Obviously, we're at the shows. We're at Cars and Coffee as well. So, like I said, when we're out there, just come and say hello, and we can have a chat about what you want to get done.
All right. Well, thanks, Johnny. Thanks for your time, and we really appreciate your invite here today. And we'll be talking to a few of the guys down here today. Thanks, Johnny.
No worries, Nick. Thanks for coming down.
No worries. All right. I have with me Summernats Grand Champion, number 30, he whispers to me, Mark Happy Williams. Now, for those listeners that don't know who Mark Happy Williams is, and I don't think there'd be many that do not know this man, founder of Steel Bumpers, WA, and as I just said, a Grand Champion Summernats winner of last year's, or the previous year, wasn't it?
Yeah. Summernats 3017.
Yeah. Mark, welcome to the podcast. Thanks for joining us down here today.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah. Tell us a bit about yourself, Mark. I know I've known you for a little while, and I think I was actually on one of your, not your first run with Steel Bumpers, but I think your second one, actually.
Yeah, it's been running for, I think, 8 years or so now.
Yeah, yep.
Get our bit of our car scene going again, and bring out all the old cars and get all the mateship happening. So it's been really good, and car scene's going really well now. So
you've done a magnificent job, actually, over the years. The group itself on Facebook. How many members are there now?
I think we're over 55,000.
Yeah, and that's. I mean, I know it's WA predominantly you're based in WA. I'm sure there's a lot of members from over east and just look from afar at what you've done over here in WA.
No, it's been really good, and there's heaps of offshoots that have come. There's nighttime car cruises and Cars and Coffee. They helped Jason get up and running with that, and that's taken off and really good for the car scene. So all over Australia now they've got Cars and Coffee, so congrats to everybody, and car scene's really thriving.
It is. Look, as we speak here, you're sort of half open, like a half open penknife at the moment. You've done an injury to yourself, so it's great to see you down here. Given you've had a knee reconstruction on Wednesday, is that correct?
Yeah, Wednesday afternoon, knee recon, and I thought, if I could get out of hospital in time, I can come down and support Johnny and a good cause today. So
yeah, it is a good cause.
Yeah, he's a good bloke and a very good detailer. So
So look, Mark, tell us a bit about. We just spoke about your Grand Champion number 30 win. The car, your one-tonner. Can you tell us a bit about it?
It was a lifelong dream to build it. Black one-tonner, went from when I was 10.
Yep.
It was just saw an old HZ, I think it was, back in the day. Actually, it was drop tank, and it was just the coolest thing I'd ever seen. And I'll build one of those one day. And so I dreamt up this car, and it evolved as I was building it, as things do. And it's a 406 small block Chev with F2 Pro Charger and full manualised trans brake turbo 400 with your 35 spline axle, Moser front, final drive diff, and it's got lots of good bits, watered air intercooler and full cage. Everything's spec to 8 seconds, so hopefully later on in the year we'll rip the motor out and put a bit more of a tune in it, and 25 pound, and start there and go for a reasonable time.
No, it's a magnificent car, and as you said, it's evolved over the years. I know you've got a few other cars as well. You want to talk to us about those as well?
Had many cars over the years, as most of us have. I'd love to have kept them all, as everyone. But the first one, which was my HQ Ute, that one's got a quite a angry little 400 small block in it as well, with 18 degree heads, and that thing's my street runner. A bit of a baby, but also my flogger car. Love to give it a hard time. She had a hard life, that old girl. Just had EHs, HRs, lots of panel vans and bits and pieces. Now stuck with all the HQs. So got a couple of windowless vans now that are about to start their builds with the other half, Rachel Derbs. So we're going to build one up and see how we go with that.
Oh, excellent. No, that's good. So future plans for steel bumpers, we're just motoring along there with your cruises that end generally at a pub or a sort of location like that, doesn't it? Yeah,
they normally end up in an old tavern out in the bush, because bring some bit of money into the old taverns, and they're really great, and they've got nice wide streets, and everyone can relax out there, and heaps of parking. So we quite enjoy going out to those guys and help bring some money into the little taverns and what have you. And we try to do an event for raising money for a charity. We've done Pink for a Princess, and we've done Royal Perth, and we've done all sorts of things for Camp Autism. And
that's correct.
So we love raising money for the guys. Try to do one a year, and it's been really busy last few years for me running around. So we'll do a cruise coming up, probably October-ish, somewhere there, and then our Chrissy run, which we normally do, catch up with all the Southsiders and catch up and have a chat.
No, that's great. All right, Mark. Well, look, thanks for your time and getting yourself to the desk here to do an interview. We really appreciate that.
No, it's great. Thank you very much.
And if for those people that are listening that aren't on the Steel Bumpers, how can they find Steel Bumpers on Facebook? Just type in Steel Bumpers Car Cruises, WA.
Cruises is spelled Cruizes. So, but you'll find us on there. And then we've got Steel Bumper Buy and Sell, which is all dedicated to steel bumpered cars, from mini mokes to mini minors to XYs to anything. Anything with a steel bumper, it's allowed on there, and a lot more dedication to finding what you want.
Yeah, no, fair enough. And as I forgot to mention, like 2 foot away from me is the actual sword from your award that you got from the Summernats 30. It's a magnificent trophy, I must say. You must be proud of that. I would be.
It's it's definitely something I don't normally keep my eyes. Don't let my eyes get off it. It's when I busted my knee, I couldn't bring the car down, so I said to Johnny, we'll bring the sword down, and I never thought I'd ever see one in my lifetime, let alone have one. But it's a phenomenal bit of trophy there, and it's very well made, and it's a beautiful sword.
Yeah.
And Johnny even detailed it for me.
He did.
What a guy.
He told me. Yeah. It is a magnificent testament to what you've done with that car, and also the work that you put into the charities, and also the Steel Bumper, the Facebook page, and what you do for all those steel bumpered, like-minded people in WA. So we really appreciate that, Bart.
No dramas at all, mate, and hopefully there's many years of everyone hanging out together and bringing the car scene along, and let's keep these street machines out there.
That's it. All right, Mark, thanks for your time today.
No worries, thank you.
Take care.
See ya.
So we've got Clint DiGiovanni here from Street Race and Muscle. How are you, Clint? How are you going?
Very well, thanks.
That's good. Yeah, very good, very good. Thanks for joining us here on the podcast.
That's okay.
You've been around a little while, Clint. Tell us
Is that a good thing or a bad thing?
It's a great thing. Yeah, your reputation precedes yourself. A lot of the work you've done over the years. I have fond memories of your F100 actually, with the Lexus, the V8. Yep. So, I mean, tell us a bit about. First, we'll get started with SRM. Tell us a bit about it and what you do down there.
Look, I pretty much basically just build custom cars, race cars, modified muscle cars. I guess the name sort of speaks for itself.
Yep.
I just try and push the boundaries of what you're allowed to do, and find the grey areas and maximise them.
Yeah. Yep.
I have a lot to do with what goes on the East Coast. I know a lot of shops. I know a lot of guys. Sort of judge at Motorex, and I judge at Summernats. And you see what goes on over there, and I just want to try and push it so West Australia's doing the same sort of thing. We seem to be a long way behind.
Yeah.
I don't think we need to be, but it's maybe a mentality thing.
Yep.
Not really sure, but I don't know. That's my style, and that's why I just want to push it.
No, fair enough. I mean, speaking of a long way behind, the F truck that we just spoke about, I think that's 10 years. 10 years ago you built that, or good 9?
No, it was originally regoed with all the mods 12 years ago.
Okay. Yep.
Coming up 13 years ago. So that's gone under a intense full rebuild. So I'm just waiting on the motor to come back and converter, and then I can button it up.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Yep. I mean, on from that car, you've built a number of other cars. One of my favourites is the car aptly named Pro Turo. Can you talk us a bit about that Capri? It's just outside at the moment, and we'll have some video shots of it as we speak. But can you tell us a bit about that car?
Look, that car originally started in my head as like I wanted to go do Targa Tasmania, and I just love Capris. A good friend of mine, Tristan Ockers over east, he owns Mincer, and that was a car that got me going 20 years ago.
Yep.
So I wanted to go do Targa Tasmania, so I started out doing that and bought this big motor for my XW, which the motor that's in the Capri now. Bought it for that. Plans changed, the car got out of hand, and it ended up the way it was, and or the way it is now with the Mustang quad cam and the fully adjustable suspension and whatnot. And then stupid me, I didn't look into the rules or anything. I just thought you build a car and take it to Targa, and turned out the car was never going to fit.
Yeah. Yep.
Any of the regulations. So stuff it. I just keep going and just build what I want.
But on from that, I mean, that car has gone on to win a number of awards. I think we were talking about it before, but Grand Champion at Motivation in 2016. Like when I first debuted it was blue with the satin grey that still remains. It's won a lot of stuff. I never built it to win trophies. I built it to drive hard, and I've lapped it around Wanneroo, many laps around Barbagallo Raceway. It goes really hard. It handles really well, and it still needs a lot of suspension tuning, but pretty much its debut drive was around Wanneroo Raceway, and I came the living shit out of it, and it didn't let me down. No. On from that car, I mean, you've built another Capri, which I saw for the first time at the Hot Rod and Street Machine Spectacular. As we speak, I'll be putting photos up, so if people are watching the video version of the podcast, they can see photos of this car that we're talking about right now. That's aptly named, I guess, you've called it Turd. I think it's a great car. I actually like the patina on it. So can you talk us through a bit about that car?
Yeah, that just was like a brain spurt that I had a couple of years ago. Had a shell sitting outside, which I thought I'll buy the shell and I'll keep it there in case I ever crash the Pro Tourer, around the racetrack or whatever. Anyway, it sat there for a few years, and one Christmas I said to my brother, my father wasn't well before he passed away. I said to my brother, look, I've got enough parts. I reckon we can throw just a car together for shits and giggles and just go have some fun. And one thing led to another, and we started it 4 days before Christmas. Had the cage, tubs, engine, gearbox, and front suspension and cross member all set up within sort of 5 days. And then my dad went downhill really badly, so it went on the back burner for a few months, and he passed away. And then we got back into it. Well, I got back into it. My brother went back to Sydney to live, and I just kept plugging away with it. And in my, maybe an hour before or an hour after work or something, and look, it just got out of hand, and it is what it is now. It was, if I had a bit of time and a bit of molly laying around, I'd throw a bar in here or throw a bar in there, and it just turned out what it was. I actually I really like that car. So plans for that car, did I read right that that's drag challenge potentially? Look, everything's hinging on money really, and time. Obviously the business is just killing me time wise. But I'm not sure. My goal is I would like to take it to drag challenge, but realistically, I don't think it's a car that I can drive over 1,000 kilometres. I aim to take the truck to drag challenge next year. That's my long-term goal.
All right. No, that's great. So you just mentioned it before, but the F truck's coming back again. We'll be seeing that shortly. So the new build for that, new driveline as well.
Everything's new apart from the shell of the car. So the original rails still remain in the car, which it was licensed with 12 years ago. So it technically is still 100% street legal, but it's got molly bars through it. It's essentially a full tube car. With a twin turbo Lexus and fuel tech and this, that, and the other. So it's coming back soon, but once again, it's time and money.
No, fair enough. All right, so that's one thing we didn't mention in the other Capri, the Turd. That's a Toyota running gear in that one as well. Correct?
That's it's not the engine out of the F100, but everything hanging off it, fuel system, turbo, all the crap hanging off it is all donations off the F100.
Right.
So the car, the Turd really cost. I think it's cost me about $8,000 to build.
Yeah, okay.
So I think it's it's an economical build. And it's going to give me a lot of fun.
No, I bet it will. And it's a great looking car as well. You touched on it before, but part of your role in the scene now is you're judging as well. So talk us through that. You get over East a fair bit to do a bit of judging?
Yeah, I do. They take me over there for Motor-X, Summernats, Red Summernats. Unfortunately, I can't attend this year, but they take me to those events, and I love it. I sort of did a 2-year sort of probation or apprenticeship, I suppose you could say, what they call ghost judging. So I did that for 2 years, and now I've been full time for 4 years.
Well, I think you're well within your own skill set. You're well skilled to be judging those sort of cars, given the cars you've built in the past. So. I don't rate myself anywhere. There's loads better guys than me. The biggest thing about judging is you got to be able to make a decision. It's not a pissing match of who's better or this, that, or the other. It's just about making a decision and standing by it and justifying it. I think that's the biggest thing that I've taken out of it, and it's taught me not to be biased. And I went into it with an open mind that I might be a Ford guy at heart, but man, I just love every car now. So I don't look at any car and favour one or the other. It's the best thing that's sitting in front of you at the time, and you've got to justify that when you get questioned on it anyway. No, fair enough. That's fair enough. All right, Clint. Thanks for your time coming on the podcast. And SRM, where can we find you? On Facebook, Twitter, those sort of accounts? You've got a website as well?
Facebook is pretty much where I'm at now. I closed the website down. I don't have any time or any skills to work on that. It's Unit 217 Conquest Way in Wangara. If you want a mad car built, come and see me.
Definitely.
Happy to do it.
No, we can certainly vouch for that. All right, Clint, thanks for coming on the podcast today. We really appreciate your time.
Oh, thank you. Appreciate it.
Take care.
Cheers.
Okay, I'm here with Ralph Italiano. Ralph, how are you?
Good, mate. Yourself?
Yeah, good. Thanks for joining us today on the podcast.
Not a problem.
That's good. Most of our listeners would know you or would know of you anyway. But before we get down your talk about your car and what you've done with that hot rod, as Johnny explained before, you were a key part of the renovations here at Benzene Detailing. Can you just talk us through some of the things you did here?
Johnny came to me looking to do an extension at his workshop, mezzanine floor, so organised all the steel, helped put it up, some concrete footings had to be done, and just supply some of the stuff and help them get it all together. So
it's an amazing job, because I've been coming here on and off over the past few years, and I mean the mezzanine floor was a great. It's changed quite significantly over the last 4 years. So what you've done here is magnificent. Really good job.
Yeah, certainly looks the part, helps him work on the cars, display the cars that he's done as well. So it just helps a bit more professionalism on his company. So great.
No, that's good. It's very good. Anyway, Ralph, we'll talk a bit about your. I got it wrong before, but it's actually a 32 Deuce. When that car was built, I do remember when it was built, and I remember at the time it was really sort of set the standard and sort of made its way into. There's been a number of hot rods built over the years in WA, but you sort of infiltrated the street scene as well with that car. I mean, just to win Grand Champion at Motivation, that was back in 2015. From memory, I think that's the first hot rod that's ever won Motivation.
Correct. Yeah, that was the first year that they opened up that hot rods were allowed to win, and ended up taking it out. So
no. So it's a magnificent car. There'll be, if people are watching the video version of the podcast, they'll be able to see that right now. Can you talk us through a bit about the car?
Yeah, pretty much. It's a 1932 Ford 5-window coupe, Deuce Customs body, Lewis Chassis Works chassis. first one that they've come out with, they put the steel cowl vent in there, and obviously because I was running the flathead motor, we had the original firewall in there as well. So
yeah, okay, all right.
Not too many do that when you put Ford motors and small block Chevs in. You got to have the recessed firewall for it to fit. But so it was pretty good, nice touch. I could get all that on there.
Yeah. How long was the build on that car?
First ordered the chassis and the body straight away, and then over the period of 3 years managed to finish getting all my parts, motor and all that together, and then employed Steve Hallhand to piece it all together for me because I build houses, not cars, so didn't want to do everything twice. So and he put it together in a year. So been in his workshop, I drove it out and it was all done. So
that's a relatively pretty quick build, given the quality of the car is absolutely magnificent. So I think it's a testament to his build and your build, no doubt. Yeah,
so it's pretty much all the parts I had a plan sussed out of my head, how I wanted it to look, how I wanted it to run, and pretty much nailed what I wanted. So
No, it's a magnificent build.
Thank you.
No, you get it out much on the road?
Yeah, drive it pretty much as most as I can. I've got another car, 57 Chev as well, which was my first car. So between them two, I'm always in something, nothing around. So
that's cool. It's a beautiful car. Now, I'm not sure. I might not have done my research well enough here, but you correct me if I'm wrong. This year was your foray into modified at the drags. Is that correct?
Yeah, correct. Been crewing in sprint cars and drag cars for the last 10-12 years with Priolo Motorsports, and opportunity arose to actually get in the car and drive it. So we had a crack at that and actually done pretty well.
You won an event.
So we ended up doing 3 meetings. First meeting was to get my licence. The second meeting I come runner-up in the final, and then the last meeting of the year I ended up taking it out with Con's son Lawrence. We both went back-to-back in super sedan and modified. So it was a great experience after all the time crewing and all that. Finally getting out there and doing it's pretty addictive. So
for the listeners that aren't really sure, modified is, I'd argue, probably one of the hardest categories in drag racing these days. It's pretty stout reaction times are required. You got to be on your dial in, so you can't run under your handicap. You can't be too much over as well. So that's a pretty decent achievement in your first year.
Yeah, it was. It's pretty much you got to have a complete package in modified. Obviously, you got to run to your dial in, cut a good light, and be consistent. And so you got to have a good overall package, which that car has. Con Adamos from Bucket Engines builds the car, looks after all the motor, and it's just super reliable and consistent. And if you do your part as the driver, you should always go pretty well in it.
No, it's not an easy thing to do, and modified is probably, as I said, probably one of the hardest. Super sedans obviously up there as well. So it's to achieve that. I think that's hats off to you.
Thank you very much. It was very cool to do that and have the opportunity to drive it. And hopefully this year, because the car's actually for sale. So if he's still got it, we're going to try and run the whole season, but we'll keep running it till it sells. So
all right. No, excellent. No, that's good stuff. Any plans for any other builds at the moment, or you?
At the moment, just redoing the motor in the 57. It's going to go small block Chev with a 871 blower on it. So
awesome.
So they'll have a bit of poke, because the hot rod's just a cruiser. Nice cruiser, get in at any time, any weather, just drive wherever you want, as far as you want, and not have any trouble with it. So 57 are going to do a little bit more tough, and that's it. And then my dad's finishing off a 1947 Chev pickup, so I had a bit to do with that. So getting that finished probably the next 6-7 months, and get that on the road. So
So speaking of your father, I know he's been around hot rods and modified cars. He's just walked away, but he's been around modified cars for a long time, hasn't he?
Yeah, pretty much as long as I can remember. He's always into hot rods. He's got a 1934 Chev sedan that he had since he was 18, and finished it for his 40th birthday. So he's gone car shows since I was as far as back as I can remember. And it's good being in the hot rod industry, and I think a lot of people didn't expect me to build a hot rod like that, like a young kid. Obviously a lot of young kids now was into big horsepower and slightly more modern cars. But for me, it was 22 years old building a Ford flathead hot rod, traditional style. It was pretty cool.
That's one thing I didn't mention before. That the hot rod's actually got a flathead. Now there will be a lot of our listeners out there that are, I'll call the millennials. They don't even know what a flathead is. So flathead side valve, isn't it? So it's a very unique motor. Very hard to find parts for, I would suggest now. And
yeah, correct. It was one of the first V8s that were ever made, and it's in the process of getting the body and the chassis organised. And American Street Rider come out, and I had the H&H flathead on the cover. And as soon as I saw that, I was like, yeah, that suits what I wanted to build. And it was the first one that they shipped to Australia from America. So, it's pretty cool to have that in there. So.
It is for someone of your age as well. It doesn't really. You know what I mean? We're sort of getting away from that, I guess, over the years. And to see that car and to win, as I said, motivation in 2015, I think it's a great achievement.
Yeah, no.
Well, Rob, anyone you want to thank in the build of that car?
I was painted by, obviously Sam Hawkins, Steve Houlihan.
Yep.
Trim Care done the interior, which is really, really nice job. And that's pretty much it. We got it all sorted like that. So
no, it's an awesome car, and Well, look forward to seeing you down at the track this season.
Yeah, hopefully be back out there and trying to win some more races.
Yeah, it's a tough gig, modified. I take my hat off to you guys.
Cool.
But thanks for coming on, Ralph. We really appreciate your time.
Not a problem. Thank you.
All right, take care. All right, I'm here with Andrew Priolo of Speedway Sprintcar fame, from a long family of Speedway racing, and now into, well, not now, it's been a while in drag racing as well. Welcome, thanks for coming on, Andrew.
Thanks, mate. How are you?
I'm very well.
That's good.
Thanks for joining us. Look, Andrew, we'll start off, I guess, we'll just have a quick chat. As I said, you've come from a long family of Speedway racing. Your father, Pino, he's been in Speedway a long time. How long has he been doing, in motorsport?
He actually started the year I was born, so 1991, I believe he started his sprint car career. He sort of did it a little bit different to all of us. He did the family thing first, and I was the fourth child, so he waited until then to start, having fun with his life and racing and things like that. So, yeah, he's been racing basically since then. I mean, obviously there's years that he doesn't race as much as others, but he seems to be still enjoying it. So while he can, why not?
Yeah, no, definitely. What a lot of people probably don't know, your father was a pretty good football player as well. I don't think many people would actually know that.
Yeah, not many people know, and sometimes we saw something the other day pop up about his history in games, and I had a few people in the last few weeks say to me, I didn't realise your dad was a good footy player. I said, yeah, apparently he was pretty good, but he took up, doing some waitressing, I think, on the weekends and things like that to earn money before worrying too much about continuing that.
The only reason why I know this is my children are involved in the Stirling Saints Junior Football Club, and down at the club rooms there's a photo of your dad from, I think, 86. I think he got fairest and best at the Aussie Park Footy Club, which is now turned into the Stirling Saints.
Yeah, I think that photo is still in our lounge room at home. I think he still reminisces every now and then, so it's good.
That's excellent. So yourself, when was your foray into Speedway? When did you start getting actively involved?
In Speedway, probably when I was about 14. I did a little bit of go-karting, not too much as a kid. And then, yes, I was doing junior sedans till I was about 13, 14, and then decided that I wanted to, work and things like that to set my life up and get a first car and all that sort of stuff. So had a break from Speedway and helped my brother Jason a lot and my brother David over those years that I wasn't racing, and learned a lot about the cars and things like that. And then got back in when I was about 21 into Formula 500s. And then we raced those for 4.5 years. Then went to sprint cars 2 years ago, and haven't looked back.
Yeah, okay, yep. So as you said, this is going to be your fourth year in sprint car. It's not an easy gig, is it, sprint car racing?
Nah, it's tough. I mean, the hardest bit about it is you can have a night, for example, over Christmas, there's, the start of your night isn't too good, and then, I started 10th at Bunbury, got to 3rd, finish behind the two Americans and close on them, which, you know, it's their full-time job. It's tough. And then you go to the next night and you can be hanging out the fence and destroy a car. It's easy to do, but it's emotionally it's hard on you, but you just got to learn to each night tackle it as a new night and put behind you whatever you got going on.
Yeah, okay, yep. Yeah, no. So this year, 2 podiums in the new style living car.
Yep.
So, like I said before, I mean, it's a pretty physical sport. A lot of people wouldn't realise it. I think they term it soaring at the wheel. There's a lot of that, isn't there?
Yeah, it's full on. I mean, before, to be honest, the first 2 years of sprint cars, I would try before the start of the year to try and really push myself to make sure I was ready to go. Probably the best prepared I was coming into last year. I actually had a 4-week holiday and trip to America, and I got home and had 10 weeks of 6 days a week intense training and dieting and everything, but just trying to physically stay fit in the car, because the concentration levels is crazy. People don't realise we can be racing half a metre or less from the fence all the way around, and to do that for 30 laps, it really mentally takes it out of you. And sometimes the concentration, you can go 3, 4, 5 laps without even remembering to breathe because of how much you're concentrating. So that made a massive difference last year. I mean, we came out opening night and had big changes physically and managed to run second. So it was, we had a great night that night. So hopefully, we're trying to do the same now. I'm starting a little bit earlier this year with the training and all that. So hopefully it's going to pay off.
Yeah. Speaking of, some of the top tier drivers, I mean, World Series, when that comes here, you do the Western swing, we'll call it, of World Series. That's an elevated level of competition, isn't it, really? It's pretty tough.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, you've just got to try and step up your game when they come here, and hopefully I can take a leaf out of my brother David's book. He was sort of king at when the big boys came to town. He's just stepped it up that extra 10% and always managed to find that, and I think that's so important. It's not so much just car speed. It's the little errors you can make. One little error, you lose a spot. I mean, this year I had a good heat race where we started off the second or third row and got the lead, and I had a really good American on my tail the whole race and managed to gap him, and then one little mistake on a restart and he gets by you and you've got to drive back by someone like that. It's really tough. Those guys just don't make mistakes and they're on top of their game. So I mean, they race 150, 200 times a year. I race 15 to 20, so it makes a massive difference. And it's my hobby, but obviously it'll be quite serious when they come to town.
Yeah, and one of the big differences that probably a lot of people don't realise is that's their full-time gig, isn't it?
Yeah.
And whereas people like yourself working full-time jobs, and really Speedway or sprint car racing is I guess a part-time sort of passion, isn't it?
Yeah, for sure. And I mean, they've got to win races and run at the front to put food on the table. It's pretty simple. I mean, at the end of the day, it doesn't matter as a hobby, whatever you do, it's never going to be an income of such. It's always going to be something that I race for my own team and obviously have backing, but put a lot in myself, a lot of time and effort and financial into it. So obviously they just got a different mentality. They're getting in someone else's car to race, and that's their wage. So they obviously push that bit harder.
Yep. Now, speaking of cars, you've got a couple of brand new ones on the water, a couple of CS9 chassis coming in from the United States. Can you talk us through that?
Yeah, so I started with a GF1 when I went to sprint cars. I bought 2 or 3 of those, and they were not too bad. We changed cars 2 years ago now to a CS9. Raced last year with the same car as the year before as well. So I mean, we're really happy with them, so we're sticking in that direction. And I just wanted to turn over the inventory this year. We sold a lot of gear, a lot of differentials and things like that. You can start to wear and tear and lose races. And now that we're starting to run towards the front consistently, I just want to make sure that we're not going to have mechanical DNFs and things like that. Not that we ever have anything like that, but if you can eliminate it, it's always good. So we got 2 new cars coming. I've got 1 here at the moment and just waiting on all the parts and things like that to get here. But we'll be ready to go. We'll have 2 or 3 cars ready, and you just don't know. We race 4 times in a week and a half over Christmas. If you have a bad couple of nights, like I said, you can turn turn your nights around pretty quick. So you got to get a car back out there as quick as you can.
Yeah. It is a tough gig. I know that your car that you raced at the last meet, I think that was a brand new car, and it got a little bit damaged at that meet.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, the intent was I had a crash at the World Series race, which were running quite good. There was 40 cars, and we'd gotten to the top 8 in the final and moving forward. So, we unfortunately hit a hole, and myself and another car did the same thing in the same corner in separate instances. And I'd sold that car after that crash, and I didn't obviously want to repair that and race it, so I thought, we'll start with a new car on the last night, which sometimes can be a really good thing, because you do one night on the car, everything's brand new. Coming into this season, I would have had everything ready to go, and you know where you're at starting from scratch. So, unfortunately, we were having a good run. I was just passed for 4th, I think, and unfortunately got in a hole. It was really rough that night, and it's obviously tough as it starts to get to the cooler part of the year.
Sure.
Fast, rough racetrack. So, unfortunately, destroyed that car, and I managed to now, like I said, start fresh with new cars this year, and hopefully we can stay on the same car all year.
Yeah, okay. All right. No, that's great. Speaking of the Speedway and the Motorplex, it's great great news that we've had the government announce that they'll still run the venue for another 2 years in light of the fact they haven't been able to secure an owner. What are your thoughts on that from a Speedway point of view?
Obviously, from a racer, it's hard not knowing where the future's at of what's going on, but. I'm pretty confident the guys that run it, Gavin Margaret, everyone from the Speedway side do a great job, and they're trying to find an owner. In any business, from a financial point of view, you don't shut the doors and then try and sell it. You got to sell it as an ongoing thing and show what it's capable of. So, if you stop it, you've got to try and build it back up again. So I think they're doing the right thing, and I mean, for us, to be honest, as racers, not much has changed. We just go there, we do our normal thing. Similar people are basically running it all, and it's not really affecting us too much. So at the moment, it's not. It's great that they're just continuing it, and hopefully they'll find a buyer. I mean, it's important to find the right buyer too, and I can understand that. I'm sure there's plenty of interest, but if you get the right buyer there, it could be real bad for us racers. So I'd rather them take their time and get it right for sure.
Now, speaking of the track, and we were talking of your father before, he's competing in Top Door Slammer. For those that don't know, I mean, Top Door Slammer is the Tier 1, Group 1 of, we'll call sedan racing in Australia, doored car racing in Australia. How's he going over there? Is he?
Yeah, he's. I think this year he's going to cut back a little bit. I mean, he's done it for a long time. He's obviously had his fun, and last year he had a pretty bad year last year. He'd done the National Series for a few years, and like this time of year is normally in Darwin and Alice Springs, and it's obviously a big trip. You've got a lot of crew, and we just, as a family, we try and be behind him, and we want him to finish up when he's ready. I mean, last year he'd hurt a few engines, and obviously that can be pretty hard on the team, and emotionally and everything. So hurt a motor, and then also had a moment and got into the wall one weekend, and he pretty much said that he had enough, and he was done. And we sort of, as a family, all got behind him and said, look, we don't think you should give up. We think you should give up when you're ready, and if you want to cut back. So I think this year he's just going to locally race, and maybe do just 4 or 5 meetings, just to, he's got the car and everything there, so he might as well race. He's just not doing as much as what he was before.
Yeah, no, fair enough. Look, Andrew, any sponsors you want to talk about or thank for their... I know New Style Living is one of your sponsors. They're actually a sponsor at the footy club as well. So, anyone else you'd like to mention there?
Yeah, so obviously New Style Living are great for me. They've been a great supporter of mine through my whole Sprintcar career, and also my last year in Formula 500. So they've been great, and Beyond Tours have also been on board for a fair while now. They've been really good. They're just a nice, family business. We try and promote them as good as we can, and keep their name out there. We got a lot of other smaller sponsors which help out. Everyone does their bit. Johnny from Benzenes cleans the truck and things like that. So everyone does their little bit, and we're a real small team, and we just do the best we can with what we've got available. So hopefully we can start having some success, and hopefully one day I can drive for someone or something like that.
No, that's great, Andrew. Look, we really appreciate your time on coming on the podcast today, and we wish you all the best for the upcoming season. It'll be upon us before we know it. October, I think it kicks off again.
Yeah, I believe I haven't actually seen the calendar yet, but I heard there was an indicative one come out, which is about the 25th of October. I'm not sure if they're doing the Drags and Speedway opening night again, but I believe our opening night's I think the 25th, so we'll be ready. I've got a holiday the start of October just to recharge the batteries before the year, and our cars are going to get here late, so that's actually going to be pretty tough getting all that together. I'm going to have everything ready as best I can, and we'll just make sure we give it all our best.
That's probably one thing I haven't mentioned, but I mean collectively as a family, it's a massive commitment that you put into motorsport, isn't it? You've got a drag car over here with its own, I guess, infrastructure, transporter, your car, David's car. There's other cars as well that I might have missed.
So there's obviously a lot involved in it, and I think the thing we're fortunate about, growing up, my dad, he wasn't a father that sort of goes out and spends a lot of money on their kids just to go and get them in a go-kart. It was something that we would, work hard for, and we all independently have done our own teams. David run his own team for years. Dad's obviously got his own racing to worry about. So, that mum and dad obviously there for a lot of, moral support and things like that. From a team and infrastructure and financial point of view, we do it ourselves, which is good. It's taught me a lot, taught me to appreciate, what you do and what you got. So, I run my own team here. I've got my own workshop in Wangara where my business runs from, and David used to work out of Dad's workshop where the drag team is. Obviously he's retired now and finished up, so, and then all the boys sort of got go-karts, so they keep busy with that. We all tend to race go-karts in the off-season, bit of bitumen karting and a bit of fun. There's about 12 of us now, I think, that all got karts, and we just really enjoy each other's company. We've got a lot of good group of friends that enjoy doing it, and sometimes we prefer to go on a go-kart weekend and have a beer afterwards than go out on a Saturday night in Perth. It's just we've grown up in a different sort of environment to a lot of other people, and we still live a normal life as such. There's a lot of people that eat, live and breathe speedo racing, and will put themselves under pressure to do whatever they can to buy something or do something, but we sort of, I've got my normal friends, I've got my normal life, but we also got a close-knit family that and friends that obviously surround us with that.
No, that's great, Andrew. All right, look, really appreciate your time coming on in. Oh, by the way, where can we find you on Facebook? Is it Facebook?
I've got a New Style Living racing page. Is the race page that we just promote everything on. We've obviously got an Instagram account which is just AP Motorsport. And it's been obviously a hard and challenging few years, and we got a pretty good fan following now. David, my brother David, we got a sort of in-team joke at the moment, saying hashtag for the fans, and David sort of get up on the wheel and have a crack, because that's what the crowd wants to see. And there was times last year where I was doing that and you come unstuck, and he's like, you know what, I don't care because you're getting 10 fans tonight. We have a joke about it, but hopefully David's always been that aggressive racer that a lot of people love watching him and things like that. Hopefully I can have his ability, maybe a little bit tamer on that side, but I think especially with David finishing up, he's my crew chief now, and he away from at the track basically, unless we have an incident where we need to build a new car during the week or whatever, I try to keep him away from here, just because he's obviously got his family and that's the reason why he wanted to cut back and slow up. So him doing it all for me is obviously not what I want, 'cause it's not fair on him. So we are, like I said, having David, just now that I can concentrate 110% on just racing rather than car setup and things like that. The work at the shop doesn't bother me. I actually really enjoy it, and hopefully we're going to start getting some wins together. I really want to do it for him, and hopefully I get to stand on the top wing with my brother and be proud of what we've achieved.
No, that's great, Andrew. No, we're behind you 100%, and I'm sure all of our listeners are as well. So get behind Andrew. You can find him at New Style Living Racing. That's spelled NU, by the way, not NEW. So New Style Living. All right, Andrew, thanks for your time.
No worries, you guys are doing a great job. Keep it up.
Thank you. Thanks very much. Take care. All right, well, that brings this podcast to a close. We'd really like to thank Johnny Ielati from Benzenes Detailing for allowing us to come down here today. Also, everyone that gave up their time to do an interview, Mark Happy Williams, Clint DiGiovanni, Andrew Priolo, Ralph Italiano, and of course Johnny as well. We really appreciate their time coming on the podcast. It's much appreciated. All right, we'll be back to our normal schedule in 2 weeks' time. And the Gons man, he'll be back with us as well. So thanks for tuning in. Take care. See yous.
Talk and Power stresses all characters and events on this podcast, even those based on real people, are entirely fictional. All celebrity voices are impersonated poorly. We do not encourage street racing or the use of turbochargers.